So we're really pleased to be back again with you, and we're excited about Thanksgiving coming up. And we wanted to share some information about cranberries, and also Bill's going to do a wonderful pudding or dessert.
Yeah, Thanksgiving in the U.S., of course, we come from the U.S., so November, Thanksgiving, that's all part of our history. But here in Canada, of course, we had Thanksgiving early October because the harvest that we give thanks for happens sooner
Earlier.
up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I did a recipe recently doing an orange cranberry pudding, because I thought as we're approaching Thanksgiving, let's do something with cranberries. I always associated cranberries with Thanksgiving, and oh, we think it's pretty great. And so we thought we'd share on the blog today something about cranberries and how they got tied to Thanksgiving, because it was very curious to me why cranberries and Thanksgiving. So I did a little research, had ChatGTP help me out on this one. And basically, what it is that when the Europeans came to North America, um, cranberries, they're one of the few native fruits available in New England. And so the indigenous people there had already been using cranberries long before Europeans arrived. And they used them for food and medicine, and they used the red even to dye things in that. So when the settlers showed up, they were introduced to cranberries because they were everywhere. Now, the other really great thing about cranberries that made them kind of a staple was that they store well and they're easy to preserve. So, before refrigeration, so cranberries were like a dream ingredient. Um, they were super tart, they were packed with natural preservatives, they lasted through the winter. So it made them a natural fit for fall and winter meals. So that was always happening in the fall. But the Thanksgiving story really got romanticized in the 1800s. So that's when Thanksgiving was kind of made a tradition. It's actually became formalized that we'll celebrate Thanksgiving throughout the country. So writers and cookbooks wanted to um, have holiday meals that felt rooted in our American heritage. And so they went to kind of the native things. The cranberries were kind of on the list because they grew here naturally. But what sealed the deal, apparently, with cranberries and Thanksgiving was ocean spray.
Oh.
Ocean spray uh, came up with the canned cranberry sauce in the early 1900s. And it made it just so ridiculously easy to put cranberries on the table at Thanksgiving. And that, coupled with great marketing, it was just cranberries and Thanksgiving. So they kind of were the product of the perfect storm of like it being a local crop. So it's indigenous, it's in our roots. They're easy to store. There's the whole national nostalgia thing and great marketing.
Well, I'm more interested in what are the health
Oh,
benefits of
yeah.
cranberries, because I know they're really good for the immune system.
Yeah, they're good for the immune system, a lot of vitamin C and manganese, a lot of antioxidants, so they give our immune system a good boost. I know what I always heard them associated with was the urinary tract. And apparently there's a nutrient in cranberries that makes it very difficult for certain bacteria, especially E. coli, to stick to the lining of the urinary tract. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know it was recommended drink cranberry for urinary tract infection. And that seems to, it's not like a cure. It doesn't cure the situation, but it reduces the risk of recurrent infections for some folks. So, yeah, it's good for immune, urinary tract, and also rich in antioxidants, and helps to lower, um, let's see, it improves the good HDL cholesterol. It reduces the bad LDL oxidation, and it supports healthy blood pressure. So
It's a good food.
it's a good food, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be great to see you make that pudding because it is so delicious.
Yeah, so we'll tag that on at the end here. And I just thought it was interesting too how cranberries are one of the few native fruits in North America. And so apples and pears and cherries and peaches, apricots, nectarines, all those things, citrus, bananas, mangoes, all of those are imported as, prevalent as they all are in our culture. They all came from somewhere else. Cranberries, basically what are native to North America. Cranberries, a lot of the other berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, things like that. And there was one variety of grape, a Concord type grape that was native here.
Mm.
So that's the cranberry story.
Okay, have a wonderful
Yeah,
Thanksgiving. Really enjoy.
bye for now.
Bye-bye.
All right, here we are again. And today we're going to do an orange cranberry pudding just in time for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving in the US is coming up. We've had ours already here in October. Um, but somehow, what is it about cranberries and Thanksgiving? Well, I guess that's when they're harvested, that's when they're in season. But I love cranberries and I love pudding. So it's like, what can I do? So, I do a sweet potato based pudding for chocolate, we've done a number of things. I thought, well, let me try orange cranberry. And the other thing is that I think we told you we have dozens of butternut squash from the farm. And the great thing is, it's called winter squash because it keeps for quite a while if you keep it cool, dark, and dry. So we've got a lot of butternut squash. So I thought rather than using the sweet potato as the base, what if we'd use a butternut squash? And I tell you, dynamite, dynamite. So that's what we're doing. We're using butternut squash as the base, orange, cranberries, a little bit of apple, which is interesting, isn't it? Because that's kind of the combination that we use for our raw cranberry sauce. So in a way, this is kind of our orange cranberry sauce folded into butternut squash. Okay, so here's the pudding. We need to sweeten it up a little bit because the cranberries are tart, which is what I like, of course, but you add that sweet and the tart, you've got that sweet sour taste. I think it's fabulous.
Tell them what the health benefits are of cranberries because I think that's important.
Well, I'm not sure what you're thinking about. They've got a lot of vitamin C and they've got a lot of antioxidants.
And the immune system. They really support the immune system.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they bring your immunity up.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the antioxidants, the vitamin C. And they seem to, there's some element, some nutrient in there that seems to really help in the urinary tract. So they're often recommended if you have urinary tract infection. Cranberries seem to support the body to undo that, which of course is an immune function. But it's interesting, it does seem to be targeted to the urinary tract. And there was research that was showing if you have frequent urination at night and that kind of thing, they did research that used dry cranberry powder and not that much, and people noticed relief. So something in cranberries is good for the plumbing. Okay,
How many dates?
16.
Well, that's quite a few.
It's quite a few, and it's quite tart, and it's a pretty good sized pudding. It's 4 cups, 2 cups, that's 6 cups. So, we're looking at probably 8 cups of material. So we've got 16 dates. And what I do is I don't like to take the time to cut them all up. So I use the food processor, but you have to be careful not to let it go too long or they ball up, they get gummy. And then when you add the other ingredients, the dates don't distribute so well. So I use the food processor to process them, to cut them, and I just watch until they just start to ball a little bit, and then I start adding the other ingredients. So we'll start now, we'll get our dates processed. Okay, I'm going to do sometimes it takes longer than others, depending on how dry the dates are. But here they are. They're just starting to clump up.
And those are Deglet Noor dates.
Yeah, that's right. These are the medium-sized date, the Deglet Noor. So the next thing is I want to add the sweet potato or the squash. So I've got 4 cups of baked squash. And I bake it covered because that allows it to be more moist. It stays more moist, and I like that extra moisture. So I cover it. I baked it at 360 for 40 minutes, and it's perfect. How did it taste? You tasted it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
really nice. So I'm going to process this until it's really smooth. While that's processing, I'm going to get my oranges ready. So I peel my orange, and I keep a little sliver of the orange peel that I add in when I put the orange in. This is like the zest. This is the quick way of zesting, adding zest. But I don't like to add too much, or it gets, there's a bitterness in the peel. So the orange helps to add a lot of orange flavor, but you have to be careful or you can get bitter. So I have peeled these. I'm going to cut them in half as well, because I'm going to just pulse these in, because I like the pudding to be kind of chunky. So this is my way of taking some of the work off the food processing, because I'm going to add the cranberries and the apple too. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add 1 orange. Let's see, 1 orange in the orange peel, yeah. So I want to get that orange peel real well cut up in there. In fact, I'm going to help it a little bit. I'm going to break it up a bit so it isn't trying to break down this whole great big piece of orange peel, because I want little tiny pieces out of this. So I'm kind of sizing the ingredients that I add now, depending on how they break up in the food processor, because I want them all to kind of still be chunky. If I put, too big a piece of something in, I have to keep running the processor to get it to be smooth. And then some of the others have just they're too smooth. So that's the trick, is adding the ingredients in a way that they will all be kind of the same size at the end. So I put 1 orange in. I want to add a little more liquid when I'm breaking down that orange zest. So that's what we're doing here. Now, while that's working, I don't use the skin from the butternut squash. I find that's just a little bit too hard to have a nice smooth pudding. But there's a lot of good nutrients in there, and I like to eat it. So this way, I'm going to eat the skin. What I do is I cut the skin up and I add it to different dishes I do. I'll add it to my savory grain in the morning. Um, I'll cook it a lot of different ways. So I just put this in a tub in the fridge, and I keep adding it to different meals that I do. So it doesn't, I'm not so careful to scrape all of the squash out. because I'm gonna eat it again anyway. If you wanna eat all the squash and put it in the pudding, you can put the skins then into your stock if you do a stock. But yeah, I end up eating this thing. So let's see what this is. Oh, I got a big chunk of orange there. It doesn't seem to want to break
I
up.
thought something was chunky
Yeah,
in
there's
there.
something in there. Let's see what's going on here. It doesn't want to break up. Oop. Playing with my food. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Usually the oranges come apart quite easily. This one, for some reason, was well stuck together. And these are navel oranges, of course, so I don't have to worry about the seeds. No seeds in navel oranges. Okay, I better rinse my hands here. Let's see if that does things. Okay.
And there was just one that wouldn't break up.
That's all that I saw. Let's see another one there. It's like there's another one there.
I
That's,
thought there was one. Do you want a spoon?
I can do all this. And then this one.
That's weird. Maybe you need to pull them apart.
Yeah, I will. I'll pull them apart. Oh, that's really, yeah, it's going to take some process. Huh. We've got a very resistant orange here.
Orange.
Yeah, let's see what we got. So I will pull these little segments apart. Now we're getting sorted for the next. Yeah, it's really well stuck together. Yeah, that'll do it. So now I'm going to add the second orange. I've got 2 cups of cranberries. I put them in whole. And I've got 1 medium apple, and I've kind of done the apple in a large dice. So again, that way it gets cut up well and ends up being kind of the same size as the cranberries and the orange that are in there already. I'm just going to pulse these in until I get the consistency I like. If you like smooth pudding, just turn it on and let it go. But I like chili. Well, I'm going to watch it in the place. Something about pulsing. When you pulse, it breaks it up differently than when you leave it on full. You know, just leave it on full beam.
Looks right now.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I think so too. Wow. Wow.
Take it off so they can see.
Well, let me bring
Or
the
bring their
thing
phone
over
over.
here. Really looks good to me.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
There it is. Yum. Oh, wow.
Good.
Fabulous.
Good.
Fabulous.